Hello and welcome to GTO Coach and Go. I'm Jim Dellerman with Group Travel Odyssey, and I want to thank you for joining us again today. Also, I wanted to remind you, as I do every week, if you've not done so yet, please make sure to hit subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. As well as that, if you ring the bell that's right there next to the subscribe button, you'll be notified anytime we have new content on our YouTube channel. You can also connect with us on LinkedIn, Group Travel Odyssey, and you can like our Facebook page. We'd appreciate it if you'd like our Facebook page as well. You can watch these streams live on any of those social media platforms. So please make sure to do that for us. Today, we are going to be welcoming on one of our favorite people. We're going to be welcoming Christina Luth. Let me bring Christina on. Hey, how are you, Christina?
Hi, Jim. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. Today, we're going to start talking a little bit about some functionality in group accounting. And today we're going to discuss preparing invoicing and how to do invoicing in group accounting. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, and we're going to just do a review. So those of you who have been through our training process in group accounting, it's going to look familiar. So it's just going to show you how you can send those invoices to your clients through the GTO system.
Excellent. Most excellent. So we're excited to learn more about this. And I know, when we're doing demos and even in the middle of training and stuff like that as well, people do have a lot of questions about how do these invoices happen? Will they look like invoices that people know from us? We get a lot of questions about it. And if you do have questions on today's topic, please make sure to type those questions in and you can send those to us. We will go ahead and answer your questions during this live stream as well. So please keep that in mind. So how are we going to get started on this whole topic today?
All right. I'm going to share my screen.
Fantastic.
All right. And give it the moment.
Sure.
All right. All the buttons you got to click.
Right, exactly.
Okay. So are you seeing my screen in GTO?
We are indeed, yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I am in group accounting right now, and I am on a test trip. So on this trip, you'll be familiar. This is the trip page, and right at the bottom of the trip page, you're going to see your customer receivables. So this is going to be a copy of all of the payment schedule items you had put into Sales Manager. If you don't create a payment schedule in Sales Manager, no worries. You can also add each of these items right here with the Add Receivable button. So here we have already 2 items that were paid. So we're going to move down to the next one here. So what you'll see is some items that we need to invoice before the final. So we'll skip down to third payment. So what you do is click this Create Invoice button, and it's going to do pretty much everything for you. It's going to load. All right. And so what you'll see here is this is the invoice page. So it's already pulling in a lot of information from other areas in the GTO system. You can see it's already added a line item here for that installment amount. So with this is going to head and put it in as the third payment. There's 49 total paying passengers at $200 per person, equaling the $9,800. If you want to change this, you absolutely can. You can type in whatever you want into this box and it will change it. You can also add an item as well. So if you wish to do that, you can. It will not change anything else in the system. This invoice is just meant to go to your client. If you do have a purchase order or some other kind of reference number you would like on your invoice, you can put those into these boxes here and it will show on the PDF of it. And then we have your company invoice information. So this is going to be your email invoice contact and your phone number for invoices. As we talked about in a previous Coach and Go, these are some of the items we collect from you when we're going through that training process. So then we also have a disclaimer or invoice comments. So this is going to be anything that you would consider your fine print. Maybe it's a late policy, something about not being refundable when, and anything like that that you want to put on your invoice, kind of that bottom section of fine print. And then there's just an invoice greeting that you can select one or type in your own, and that will go on there as well. So just to go ahead and show you what that would look like, I'm going to click this generate document. And I apologize for any speed issues. I'm telling you, it's my computer. It is not the GTO system. My Microsoft suite has liked to take its time as of late.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. And once you click close, it's going to go back. All right. And then you'll see it's put a file attachment there. So we're going to go ahead and open it up and let it open over here. Okay, so while that is opening up, as I mentioned, that's just my Word document that's taking its time to open. So there is another format that you can do on the invoice that we call the Statement Invoice format. I will show that in a moment as I see the Word document is just about ready to open. But right now what I am showing you is the Installment Invoice format, meaning I'm just going to put on the invoice what we want to be billed to the client. All right, and this is what it will look like. So this is the template that you will have for your clients that it will be filled in. So up here you will have your logo and also your address. And then it's going to have your basic invoice information, that PO number and reference number. If you have that, will show just basic trip information here and then what is being billed. And then here's your total information and also that fine print statement that I mentioned. And then at the very bottom, there's just that greeting and then contact information. So this is what we call that installment invoice. So this is just invoicing them for what they owe right now. I'm going to go ahead and exit. And then I'm going to show you this other format. So the statement invoice. If you want to switch to this format, just check the box. And you will see these buttons pop up and this grid here. So what this is if you would like to show the client how they're doing to date. So you want to show them what their package prices are, maybe what comps they have available, and any additional option line items if you've had that stored into the trip. Most people don't use that one. And then also the payment schedule or received items to date. So I'm going to go ahead and click these buttons. And when you click them, it's going to go into the GTO system and pull the information and add it directly to the invoice. So as you can see, it took all my packages. Now I'm going to push the comp button. And the one that takes the longest is just this last one, as it needs to go through each of those payment items, see if it's been paid and put in the correct language. It still should take less than a minute, but we might have to refresh once. Oh, no, it's already there. Perfect. All right, you never know. Sometimes it might take 30 seconds. Sometimes it might take a minute. So you just have to refresh sometimes. All right, so then now we have the same type of grid as we did above. So you can go ahead and you can edit the language on here as you like. If you don't want the amount of the unit price to show as this or the quantity, you can change those. Again, that's just for this invoice. It's not going to change anything on the side where you're calculating information. And then I'm going to go ahead and regenerate a document, the statement invoice document this time. Okay. And comes back. And we're going to go ahead and open that up. And let that open. And as you'll see right here as well, there's this estimated final total remaining. That is going to show on the invoice, and it's going to show you an estimate to the client as far as how much they still owe for their trip as in total.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so now what you'll notice is the top part is exactly the same as what we just saw, and it's just added this bottom section for that statement invoice format. So you'll see there is a line in here letting them know this is an estimation of what your trip will be in the end and how much you've paid so far. So as you can see, we did have some payments. So it's listed those on here as how much was paid as a credit and when it was paid. And then it's also showing what is going to still be owed. And it's adding up the amounts of the packages here. And of course, the comp is at $0. So that is what that estimated trip cost remaining is if you want to send that. So those are the two formats for invoices. All right. And then just to show you here, I'm going to go ahead and save and close this. And we're going to go back to the trip. Okay, and so that I went ahead and just entered in an item onto here, just so I had that ready for you as an invoice line item. So what you will notice in Sales Manager is you can add these invoice line items, and those are those ones that come out of your package price. So let's say you have a group that's wanting to pay $5,000 towards the ultimate trip cost. So that way the individuals going on the trip don't have to pay as much. So if you did have any of those, they will come over when you copy the payment schedule from Sales Manager, and you can invoice it just the same as like the one we just did. You would push this create invoice. And there it is. So this one, I just wanted to point out that this one for the invoice line item, it's just going to be a quantity one at that budgeted amount total, since that is going to be a grouped amount instead of a per person amount. All right, we'll save and close that. Okay, the other type that is a bit different than the others is going to be your final invoice. All right, so for your final invoice, anything other than a final, it's going to take either that per person amount or the group amount. So anything like a deposit, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, so on payment, it's going to do your total passengers paying right now times your per person or that group like we just saw. But your final will not pull in anything automatically, as that often is going to be some various things you need to add. So let's go create a final invoice. Your final invoice is also the only one that really matters as far as anything else calculating in GTO. As you might have seen on a previous Coach and Go, the audits feature does use your final invoice items that you put onto here, onto the invoice, to calculate your amount collected or your accounts receivable for the trip. All right, so this works the same way as it did below, where we have these buttons to add. So we just click them and it will add them right to the invoice. So add packages. And it's going to refresh and come back. And there are the packages. We'll add the comps. And then any additional, it'll add those too. Which we didn't have any for this trip. Okay, so what you can see here is it's went ahead and it took those values for the packages and the complimentary package, and you can edit at this point if something is incorrect. I will show you in a moment where those values are coming from, but just so you know, the final, like I said, it's very important for other calculations at the end of your trip, but you still can edit this invoice if this is the easiest way for you to just go ahead and edit. You can just type right in using your arrow keys on the keyboard and change all that information. And the same thing, you can generate an invoice once you're done. So where that information is coming from, we're going to go back to the trip page. And there is this Final Invoicing Details tab. So this is really just a place where calculations are being done on your behalf. We just have that on here for you so that you can kind of see where things are, what's being done. And you can also change it if you like. So that way, when you go back to create an invoice, it will take whatever your updates are. But if it is easier for you to just update the invoice, that is perfectly fine. You can absolutely do that. All right, so we went into edit mode here, and what you'll notice is that these prices are not editable here, and that's because they are coming directly from Trip Manager. So if you do need a different price listed, you would change that in Trip Manager. You can also update it directly on the invoice, as I mentioned before. Now, these package counts are going to be estimated until you have a rooming list. So for one price for all that's different, it's just going to take your paying passengers. But if you do have an overnight trip where you have a hotel or some sort of lodging, whatever you put in as far as your number of package types like quad, triple, double, single, so on and so forth, it's going to take that number here of people in those packages. If you don't like the number that's shown there, maybe you had somebody who's technically in a triple, but they have a credit or something for a double. However you want it to show on the invoice, you can override the number here, and then it will change that as well. If you want to keep to the original number, just delete it. As you saw when I just did that, this number also changed. This is just to check your work. If it's green, it's meaning that it is the same number of passengers going on the trip. So it's just adding all of these up, and you can see that our total is 50. So when I changed that to 39, it turned red because we're missing somebody, and you have to put somebody somewhere. And that is invoicing.
That's fantastic. There's a question here.
Sure.
If you have on that list when you were adding the comps and the package breakdown prices and stuff like that, how do you edit that?
Edit on the invoice?
Yeah. So you're bringing like if you have a statement invoice and you've added the stuff on the statement invoice, if you wanted to edit those, how do you edit those?
Sure. All right. So we had those on our third payment. So I'm going to go back here. You can just click View Invoice.
Okay.
And we'll go directly there. And then we'll go ahead into edit mode. All right, so it works just like an Excel sheet, or if you've used Grid Edit in the GTO system, that is basically what you are doing here. So you can type right in. So let's say I wanted to do quad package students and double package adults.
Oh, okay.
So you can do that. And then if you want to say, actually, I want to round up and charge them 800, you can do that. And it will change that automatically for you. The ones that just, yes, so that will automatically change. You can make this however you want. And that's why when I was showing that other part on the trip, it's a way you can change the values, but for a lot of people, it's easier just to change it on your invoice. And that is absolutely fine. It will work appropriately in all the other formulas down the line for GTO.
Brilliant.
Yes. And the other point to just mention, if you do make any changes into this grid here, just make sure to save before you generate it, just to make sure it's there. Saving is always a good step. Absolutely.
Yeah. In general, when you're on a computer, I think saving is always a good step.
Yes.
Occasionally save, it's can't hurt.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing.
Great. Well, that was fantastic. And I know that, we've had a lot of questions about this, and I know going through demos of the system and actually talking to Taylor and everybody with training on this is always where questions and stuff do come up. And one of the questions we get all the time is, can we have the language that we currently use on our invoice? Can we have those on this new invoice? And I believe you already said that, yes, we can. So, the disclaimers, everything that you would normally have on your invoice, the address, email, contact information, all of that can be changed and set up specifically for your company along with your logo. So it will basically look like your invoice. Then it will not be something that is so completely different that people are going to think, what happened? So it is something that will be comfortable for your team. And it will also be something that will be comfortable for your long-term customers as well. They will still see your invoice coming over to them. So
absolutely. And that brings up a good point. When we do go through your training or your onboarding, just make sure to send us that information so that GTO or that invoice contact and the invoice email and phone number, and also that disclaimer, just make sure to send that to us. We can store it in GTO. So that way, every time you create an invoice, it fills it in, as you notice on there. And then, of course, you can edit per invoice as you like as well. So just make sure to send that to us so we can get that prepared for you.
Absolutely. And for those of you who are interested, if you did not see the episode that we did on Company Manager, and I believe Corey took us through that, that is where a lot of information is stored. A lot of your proprietary language, the legal language, all of that is stored in Company Manager on your GTO system. So you can always access it to see what it looks like. You can update it. You could do things like that. But that's also an episode of Coach and Go that you can find on our YouTube channel. So make sure to head over there if you do want to see that as well. So Christina, that was really fantastic. And, it's important information. Again, we're at that point. I know a lot of our GTO community has gone through sales and they've gone through the operations. And now they're at that point where they're sending invoices and they're doing things and they're closing up trips. And this is really perfect information for them at this point. So thank you so much for coming on and joining us today. We always love having you here.
Happy to be here.
Excellent. Well, just a reminder to everybody that we do GTO Coach and Go every other Tuesday. So we will not have a Coach and Go next Tuesday, but we'll do one the week after that. During our off weeks, we do what are called GTO fast breaks. And so you'll see people like myself and Christina, Corey, Taylor. We'll do little video snippets of just like one thing that you can do in GTO to make your life easier. A little bit of information just to kind of help you get through the system more efficiently. So those are found on the community forum. So make sure to head over to the community forum and you will be able to find our GTO fast breaks. And again, that happens every other Tuesday when we're not doing Coach and Go. As well as Coach and Go, we do on Thursdays, we do a program called Destination Dispatch. And Destination Dispatch is where we take you to some really fantastic destinations and learn about group-friendly experiences at these destinations. Now, normally we do it Thursdays at 2:00, but this week is something completely different. You can join Stevie G and myself, and we're going to be going to England. Well, not physically going to England, but virtually we're going to England. And because of the time change and everything else, we're going to be doing this episode of Destination Dispatch at 10:00 in the morning. So 10:00 in the morning, if you want to join us live, and we're going to be going to Bath and Bristol, England. So make sure to join us and John Chamberlain as he gives us all of the important information in the history about Bath and Bristol, England. So again, that'll be Thursday, October 13th at 10:00 Eastern time. If you don't have time to do it then, again, you can catch all of this on our YouTube channel. So just go to the Group Travel Odyssey YouTube page, subscribe to it, ring the bell. You'll be notified whenever we do have new information up there on our YouTube channel. So I believe that is all that we have for today. So thank you all so much. And Christina, again, thank you so much for joining us and taking us through all this great information. And we hope to see you in a couple more weeks.
Probably will.
Okay, take care. Have a great day, everybody. And again, if you ever need anything from us, you can contact us. If you go to grouptravelodyssey.com, you can get all of our team email addresses on there. So go to the team tab and you can find us there and, let us know if you have any questions. And until that time, we hope you have a fantastic week and we'll see you very soon.
Bye,
Thank you for watching this episode of GTO Coach and Go. We invite you to stay connected with Group Travel Odyssey on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and be sure to check out more of our media, including Destination Dispatch and the Destinations Beyond Expectations podcast. Please visit our website, grouptravelodyssey.com, where you can learn more about GTO and request a demo. Group Travel Odyssey, business without boundaries.